What's up, guys? I know this is a long overdue video, but I am going to be doing a 2 month wrap up video for you guys because I did not do one for the month of March, nor did I do one for the month of April, and that was on purpose because I only read 2 books in each of the months of March and April. I just haven't made an effort to read as much, and there was a point in April where I broke through that reading slump thing, but then I just fell right back into it. It's just so annoying. But anyway, so let's get on to the 4 books that I did manage to read. The first book that I read in March, which I actually started near the end of February, is The Crucible by Arthur Miller, and I read this play for school and I rated it 4 stars. It was actually pretty good. One of the best plays that I've read in a while or at all for any school related function, really. Basically, The Crucible is about the Salem witch trials, and it follows the small town of Salem and all these girls who are and women who are suddenly convicted of witchcraft. It was really interesting because it had a different point of view on the Salem witch trials, how they could be perceived as just very, very over dramatic and really fake almost, I guess. Like, people just made it so much more than it really was, and it resulted in a lot of chaos. It was actually pretty interesting to learn that a lot of the people in the play were actually real people in history, and the plot was actually interesting. It wasn't boring at all, really, and it was just an overall entertaining play. The second book that I read in March was also sort of for school, and it was Gloria O'Brien's History of the Future by A.S. King, which I've had this book for a while, so it wasn't like specifically for school, but I had a project in my AP English class where we had to pick an inspirational book and read it, and I ended up choosing this one because it is a book about a girl who gains the power to see anyone's infinite past and future, and she sees into the future a second civil war and women's rights are being taken away. And I thought that was a pretty fitting topic for the inspirational book thing. And it definitely fit the inspirational book topic because I really enjoyed this book. 4.5 stars. I really enjoyed this book. Actually, I love this book because, well, one, it was so inspiring, as I mentioned before, as I picked for the inspirational book project. But um, a lot of the stuff in the book was very inspirational, and some of the stuff I even related to because at the same time that Glory, the main character, is seeing these visions, she's also dealing with feelings of being an outcast of society because she realizes how messed up it is and does not want to be a part of that, which sometimes I can relate to, like not wanting to be all in the middle of society, like the stupid part of society, because sometimes it just gets really ridiculous. And the writing was really good too, as usual with A.S. King. I mean, I love every book that I've written. I love every book that I've read by her. Like, that's just a given. And there were several quotes in the book that I tabbed. And I wish I had the book with me right now to show you, but unfortunately it's at school, so. And then these next 2 books I read in the month of April. The first book that I completed was Illuminae by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff, which is the first book in the Illuminae files. I think I started this at like the end of January or beginning of February, so it was a long time ago. I got this for Christmas. I rated this book a 4.25 stars. This was one of the most creative books I've ever read. Some of the pages were just so cool, and the way this book was formatted is it's about a attack on the planet Carenza, I think, and it basically details the two main characters' journey on spaceships during space, like leaving the planet and like trying to evade the people who attacked them. But it's all told through like, documents and interviews and just stuff like that, and it's really coolly formatted. Like let me just pull up a page for you. This was one of my favorite pages. Like that just looks so cool. I feel like, ouch, I just poked myself in the eye with the book. Even though this was a really good book, I feel like some parts dragged on, especially near the beginning, and I feel like I didn't have as much emotional connection to the characters as that I could have if it were a regularly formatted novel. But it was still a really good book, and I would still recommend it if you're really interested in it. And I will most likely be picking up the second book in the series. And the last book that I completed was Alive by Scott Sigler. This is the first book in the Generations trilogy, and I actually really, really like this book. I finished it in like 3 to 4 days because it was honestly so addicting. This book is about a girl who wakes up in a coffin and all she knows is her name, and she wakes up in a room with all these other people in coffins and no one has any idea what the heck they're doing there, so they have to like find out what they're doing. I wanted to read this so bad, and I'm so glad that I finally did. I should have read it sooner because it was so addicting. The plot was actually really fast paced. I was never bored. My rating was a 4.5 stars. The plot twist and whole mystery aspect of this book was done really well in a way that wasn't stupid, because sometimes in sci-fi mystery books, the plot twist per se can be explained in a really stupid way, or it's just a really stupid plot twist. I only have two complaints with this book. One of them is that there was a lot of characters in this book, and sometimes it was hard to keep track of some of the minor characters because they don't really have as much of a role as the really main characters, and also you don't feel as much attachment to some of the not as main characters. And also, I didn't like the sort of romance thing, if you can even call it that. I feel like it was like a budding possible romance / love triangle thing that'll be developed in later books, that I feel like it was just unnecessary to the story, and it was just sort of annoying. I'll most likely definitely be picking up the sequel. After I finished reading Alive, I immediately went to pick up My Heart and Other Black Holes by Jasmine Warga, because I was so in the mood to reading, because I was just so pumped from reading such a good book, and I started this. And that's when I went right back into my reading slump. And I actually tabbed a place in this book where I found I just didn't like that part in particular. I just tabbed it to remember it for my review, because I'm like, hopefully it gets better, but I honestly don't even know if I'm going to continue it for now. I might just start another book soon. That's it for this video. Hope you liked it. Okay, bye!